What a debate. What a debate. And you know what? I've heard so much about King Nico before the debate. I am not exaggerating here. We spoke for a good 10, 15 minutes before the debate started. We hung around and spoke afterwards. He genuinely was nothing but a gentleman from start to finish. So, I know I've heard other things about him. I can only go off what I've seen. He was an absolute gentleman. We will get into how the debate actually went. But if you are on the Culture Catz channel, this is being streamed on the Culture Catz channel only really so we can guide people over to the 8 out of 10 Catz channel, which is where all the debates are going to be. I am going to keep spamming that channel in the chat here. And if you click on it and then go to the channel, you can watch this after show over there rather than over here. And I'll pop that in the description. So while I'm sorting the description out, I'm going to let Doom take over. And Doom, don't talk to me for a couple of minutes at all while I sort this out.
Okay, firstly, Keela, yeah, I did see your thing. We'll try and get you in the stream as soon as Catz has done the first bit of teching he needs to do. And we'll sort that out in a minute. We're all going to have us four on this one. It gets a bit crowded, so apologies to anybody else who might have wanted to pop on. We've got Clarence in, or as we call him, Timmy. I did mention, I think, at the beginning of the debate that we are going to see him do his debut against Flat Earth Queen next week. So
yes, looking forward to it.
So what are your feelings? Have you got any trepidations or?
No, not particularly. I'm looking forward to it, really.
Calm.
Oh, I did see Max in the chat wanted to join as well.
Yeah, Keela did ask first. I don't know if Catz wants loads and loads of people in. It's down to him at the end of the day. He's got the controls for this one.
Okay.
So I didn't hear a word of that. I'm just trying to sort out the thing. Get me in a couple of minutes after I've done this.
Keel, I just saw your other post. Are you in the 8 out of 10 Catz Discord or are you in Catz's Discord?
If she can send me a WhatsApp and I'll send it on WhatsApp.
Yeah, well, there you go. Send him a WhatsApp. I mean, he said this guy called, but I don't know the guy. I don't know him. Max wants to come on as well. It's up to you, Catz, if you want to pull him in. But
we'll do we'll absolutely nothing against having Max on whatsoever. But if we just keep it at like 4 at a time, we'll have like a 1 out, 1 in rolling thing.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Max's videos. He's on Matters now.
All right. Okay.
So but I do know he is from Uruguay.
Ah, okay. She'll be having that famous South American drink then right about now, won't he? The one in the fancy cup with the straw in it. I apologise. I don't know its name. I forgot it.
Okay. The link is there. If I hit save, and I'll also copy that. So I'm speaking to myself out loud. Okay. So for anybody who wants to watch this on the 8 out of 10 Catz channel, Dave McKeegan also wants to come in. Are we just going to have we can't not have Dave McKeegan. He was in Antarctica. We can't not.
I would be happier to drop out to make space for Dave McKeegan.
Clarence, there is no chance we are going to ever ask you to leave.
Yeah, but seriously, mate, fuck off.
Yeah, there's no way you are going. I'll send a link to Crafty and Dave. I've got on WhatsApp and Max. And that sounds really rude, doesn't it? Like with Dave having been in Antarctica, I'd love to hear that, and then we'll bring you in later on if you're still here. While I'm sorting that out, just pretend I'm not here.
Who said that? Jewish man, Clarence.
I'm just sorting and edit that. Okay.
I seriously need to up my fluids. I don't think I've drunk much for the last sort of 2 hours.
I'm on about my 6th pint.
Yeah, I don't drink at night. I'm not a lager out.
Copy.
I'm civilized, don't you do?
Right. Copy that. I'm just emailing to myself. So, Clarence, what did you just give us your impression about the debate? How things went with Nico? Did he debate the way you thought he would? Were you impressed? Were you disappointed? What do you think?
So what I thought about Nico, first I'll say it's the most polite conversation I've seen with Nico. So first of all, absolute credit for that. But what he was actually saying was just nonsense. It was gibberish. And there was one point when you're talking about the bird falling to the ground, and it didn't occur to him he was debunking his own explanation for why things fall and float. Yeah, he didn't know. He likes to quote from the Bible because he doesn't know anything about the science. And everything he was saying, it's like he'd just been reading my first book of Fluff. It was just the same old stuff. That's just been regurgitated for years and years.
Thank you to the Total Moves, chucking someone in Catz's bucket. I've no idea what channel that's been thrown in from, but thank you very much. Doom, sorry. Should we go through the members that were making themselves members while they were waiting for this to start? And then...
Yeah.
BPA, thank you for becoming a member. Professor Parks, thank you for becoming a member. It's probing time. Nathan Oakley's daddy, thank you for becoming a member. And Professor Parks, again, thank you for becoming a member. You become a member twice, or maybe that's one on each channel. When we're streaming to both channels, I don't know which is going in where. Keela and Dave, you've both been WhatsApped the link. Let me know by WhatsApp if that hasn't arrived. And I'll shut up now. Sorry. Illusion, we definitely will get Max on. At some point, I'm trying not to get overcrowded, but definitely Max will be next. Sorry.
I think it was quite humorous, I suppose, that people kind of thought Nico looked a bit like Fidel Castro.
Yes, he does. He is definitely cosplaying as Fidel Castro.
But listen, we all have our own fashion choices. That's his. Sweaters are yours by the looks of things. And McKeegan's a Catz, as we all know.
We've got Crafty. Has that worked?
Hello.
I'm going to stop sharing, and then we can see everybody. Yo, Crafty.
Hi. How are you doing?
Hello. Nice to meet you.
You too. It's been a while, Catz. It's been a while.
Long while. Do you know Doom? Doom and Crafty, do you know each other?
I used to go by the name of Globe Earth back in the day, and I do know of you.
Yes.
But it's been a long time, and I've reinvented myself at least 3 times since then.
It's been, for me, I had a stream after having the kiddo. But for me, streaming properly, it's been about 2.5 years.
It's been a while.
It seems a lifetime ago, doesn't it? Then this all started to pick up, and YouTube became its medium, didn't it? It just seems like I'm sure I've gained 20 years since then.
And so Taddy Bogle is listening, and he would kill me if I didn't say Happy Burns Day. So happy Burns Day, people!
Happy Burns Day.
Yes.
Happy Burns Day.
And hello, Tatty, as well. Tatty and Crafty. I mean, for those people who only started following either when we started the 8 out of 10 Cats or the Culture Cats channel, you might not remember further in the past, but Tatty and Crafty were both massive figures in the community going back a few years ago. And yeah, both absolutely excellent people. So really chuffed for you both with the family and stuff. That's amazing. Mike Hatch at Dave McKeegan, would Team TFE help out Creaky? I'm not sure what that means, but I don't know. Crafty, what do you think of the old debate?
It was the same old, and I noticed that he obfuscated a lot. When he didn't know the answer, he would just word salad and use, talking points without fleshing them out.
But it wasn't even good word salad.
No,
This
God
was
knows. He did try.
4-day-old word salad.
It was a 4-day-old Lidl word salad. Does anybody shop at Lidl? I don't mean to be really harsh on them, but
I go to Lidl.
okay.
There's one right near me. I'd be foolish not to.
I went to a Lidl today, and they had some coconut biscuits. I went because my daughter wanted some biscuits called Shorties or something. Next to it was some coconut biscuits, and they shorted the name on the price tag to CNUT biscuits. And I didn't have my phone, and I couldn't wait to take a snap. I was like, I need my phone so I can tweet that. Like, almost spelt it right, but no, CNUT. Jim Broughton. Nico just repeated the same. And hello, Jim, sir. Nico just repeated the same tired old nonsense. He had nothing of substance to offer. It's embarrassing listening to him. That's for £5. It was quite.
It was interesting. It was interesting because he basically, his whole argument boils down to Freemasons and Satanics created NASA, therefore God. Therefore flat Earth.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what if this could be faked? It's exactly what it was, Arcanics. Yeah, what if this could be faked?
And the other thing was he started talking at one point. I don't know if you missed it, Catz, but he started talking about I wanted to be on an Enterprise captain. So because real life isn't Star Trek, the Earth can't be a globe.
Huh.
That one really stood out to me.
Yeah.
Oh dear, Fletcher boy.
Are you saying that Star Trek's not real?
I am neither confirming or denying that sci-fi is a real thing.
It's not a documentary. It's I'm going to read these as they come in. I've no idea whether they're being sent from the 8 out of 10 Cats or the Culture Cats channel, but this is being streamed live on both. Go and watch it on the 8 out of 10 Cats, not this one. Fletcher Boy 499 says Freemasons brand word salad. I totally agree. Timo Lynch says, excuse me at Jim Broughton. He completely blew the entire Aleister Crowley conspiracy wide open. And I also agree with everything Timo says. Right. Thank you, Timo.
I want to ask a question from Timo. Well, it's more of a request. Next week, when Catz is absolutely mullered up, right? I want some incriminating pictures of him in a really, really, really bad light. We want some info on him, Timo. I'm counting on you now, Agent Timo.
Yeah, Timo is coming to visit, and I'm going to show him the delights of the outskirts of Blackburn and the pubs.
Can I just challenge something there? Illusion says, pretty sure William Shatner went to space. Did he really though? Low Earth orbit? Did he really go to space? Can we really say that?
He went very high.
He went high, but did he really go to space?
I mean, that's one of the things where do you decide space starts from?
He went to space, didn't he?
I don't know exactly how high he went. Did he go above the Kármán line or?
So I'm going to just present this. Share screen.
So for anyone who doesn't know who I am, and that's probably a lot of people, and that's fair enough. I studied sociology in university. I have a master's in sociology, and so when I got involved in this whole experience of YouTube, it was because I actually dealt with a flat earther coming onto my farm, and telling me about how everything is fake and everything is a lie. And let me just assure you, he did not leave that farm as a flat earther, which I was very, very proud of. But I got thinking, like, is this a real thing? Because I couldn't understand how people actually genuinely believed it. And that's how I got involved with Catz and with the community. And it's crazy to me to see the lack of understanding in terms of how society changes and develops. What he was saying there in the debate was kind of the Freemasons, and this is trotted out all the time, you know, that they have an agenda, they want control. First of all, they already have control. Second of all, they don't need to control the shape of the earth to have control. And thirdly, having a globe does not benefit them, whoever they are, in any way, shape, or form. Actually, a flat earth traditionally was a better form of control, because what would happen is people were genuinely threatened with being thrown off the edge of the earth.
I mean, if you believe in a flat earth, that's got to be pretty frightening. I'm just going to read these couple of super chats, and then obviously the man himself is on the stream. Timo, will do Doom. Also, you're a poopy pants. I've got to read them out, mate. I've got to read them out. And the total moves, goat-powered internet for the win. And that is my internet, yes. Goat-powered. Dave, welcome.
For anyone that doesn't know, I was on a goat farm, by the way.
Oh, and you've got a goat called Space Comma, which I fucking love. Or you had, that was amazing. I've still got the pictures.
Yeah.
Dave, mate, we've never spoken live on a stream. I know we've exchanged one or two WhatsApp messages. It is an honor to have you here. Yep. Genuinely, we are over the moon. You know Nico, you spoke to him, you know the final experiment, you know the arguments he's made against it, etc. You've got so much to say, and I'm not even going to ask you questions because I wouldn't even know what questions to ask. I'm just going to give you the floor and tell us what the hell you think is going on with this shit show.
Catz, before Dave answers, can I just ask, how can we trust him when we know he's a Freemason? We all saw the thing with the boot.
We do, and actually, I can see the blue screen behind him now. I can actually see the blue screen. That he never left his own house, did he? This whole thing was from. He just moved the ornaments from behind him and did the whole thing. No, go on, Dave. Take the floor.
Right. First off, just checking audio's okay.
Perfect.
I was having some issues with my mic. That was why it was taking me forever to get in. Yes, I can confirm this is the green screen. I've got the this is the backdrop that I had. Yeah, that's just arrived today. That's my big panorama picture that I took. I'm going to put it on the wall just there. Well, look, Rusty's in. I'm just going to put it on the wall just behind me so that in future I've always got the 24-hour sun just right there above my head, just to really annoy people. And I think I might shoot every future video with my left shoe off just to piss Nico off as well, because
he was nice, you know. Have you interacted with him in the past? I believe someone in the comments said you had a debate and it went badly. Did that happen? Or
yeah, well, he was on a debate with FTFE, like literally about 2 days after I got back, and I'm watching it. And I'm just listening to these points, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. He's suggesting sound studios in Antarctica, and I just messaged Craig. I said, I'm free. If you want me to jump on, I'll have a chat with him. And yeah, it exploded pretty quickly when I then started bringing up the 360 videos, which at that point hadn't actually been released. And I pulled up the part where it showed us getting into the back of the Tucker truck and driving off down the road. I'm like, where's the sound stage? Why have we not crashed through a wall? And then, yeah, he just started to get really annoyed when I was just taking down his points in real time and he couldn't react to it. And then he just threw a temper tantrum and stormed off.
We didn't see that side of him, did we, Doom?
No, I mean, he was quite amiable and he didn't seem to be, he didn't have the energy.
I was impressed, although, yeah, to be fair, I was going in after he'd been FTFE'd, so I think he was probably, you know, he probably have his feathers ruffled a bit before I got to speaking to him. Plus, I was suffering with jet lag, so I was a bit short-fused with him myself.
Yeah. Craig can kind of have that effect on people sometimes, can't we?
Well, also, I think
effect on an empty room.
Yeah, I think having Catz, that Catz has the patience of a saint.
He does, yeah, he does.
Taught for 20 years the things that I've been called, you know, before I get to work by the wife is just upsetting. No, it's yeah.
And you supported him on the Eric Debriefing.
I think that was a good starting point.
I think that gained his trust.
Did you see the Eric Debate thing, Dave? Like the way that Eric Debate ripped off all his arguments? Were you aware of that's the way around it went?
No, I'd seen Eric Dubay's video, but I'd seen Eric Dubay's video, and I knew that Nico had mentioned the studio because he'd mentioned it to me before Dubay brought it up. But I didn't know that it was Nico that had originally put the bits out there. And I certainly didn't know about the footage and stuff. So, I mean, to be fair, I just assumed when I saw Nico's latest video, I thought he was ripping Dubay off. So I'll have to backtrack where I did think it was a bit daft of Nico to wait until after I debunked the shit out of Dubay's video to then post his repeat of it all. Would have made more sense to do it beforehand, but, you know, that's nitpicking.
Oh, God, yeah, absolutely. Oh, hello, Charlie Welsh. Hello, Charlie. Oh, dear me. But, you know, I've got to take my hat off to him. He was polite, he was nice, and I think we've got someone there who will come back on and debate other people. And at the end of the day, I don't know what you guys think or yourself, Doom, but my personal opinion is when we're in the middle of these debates, we're never, ever, ever, ever going to convince the person we're debating that they're wrong. But what we might do is give them enough rope to hang themselves so the people who are watching them and have faith in them realize that, hang on, no, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree because I've been in the debating world since I was about 17, 18 in proper debates. And it's never about who you're talking to. This is the best piece of advice I've ever been given. It's never about who you're debating. It's who might be listening. That's your target audience.
Well, that's how I've always viewed it. You know, it's not about trying to convert Nico. It's about trying to stop others falling for the same lies that he did.
I say that
that's
whenever
how I've always seen what it's as being about.
Yeah, I get people commenting on my videos all the time going, why are you wasting your time with this? Why are you wasting your time with that? Then you're never going to convert them. It's like, I'm not. I've got no illusions of ever converting someone who's that far down the rabbit hole that they're streaming live to the world about Flat Earth. But it's more the people who are watching that might start finding their material and start asking questions.
And that's exactly right. I mean, I'm sure you've had the same, Dave. There are certain conversations that I made public, but I mean, you came along kind of like after I'd gone. But I did do a lot of stuff on. You probably don't know anything that I've done, and it wasn't that big. It wasn't as big as like Simon Dan or McToon or anything like that. But I was around for a while. And I did, get emails personally from people saying, shit, I nearly fell down this rabbit hole. And then I saw what you did, and you made it look so ridiculous. And, I kind of double checked myself, and I was like, oh, hell, and confidential thing. And I'm sure you get emails yourself from people who are just like, and it is nice. I'm not saying I was inundated, but there were certainly a few over the time. And it is nice.
I've had a couple like that, and I've seen people commenting about it, and half the time it's comments that they're not actually directed to me. I just happen to see my name crop up in them, and they're saying, oh no, Dave McKeegan's videos helped me out of this, and the like. So it's always good to know that there are people out there who you've helped in that regards, and sometimes it is like I think the analogy that I put for it as well is because, as Jeran has shown, even people down the rabbit hole can find their own way out. It's just sometimes they need something put in a particular way. The analogy that I put for it is because most people don't think of the world like in the way that we do. Like, I don't know about you, Catz, but nowadays, since starting all of this, day in, day out, I'm walking around thinking, how does this work on a globe? How does that prove a globe? How would that be on a flat Earth? Everything to me is now just in this debunking space. Most people don't live their lives like that. They don't consider how everything works on a globe. So it's not really the kind of thing that when you then fall down the idea of the Earth being flat, suddenly the globe idea all seems a bit bizarre. And it's like piecing a puzzle back together. It's like you've got all these pieces of understanding how the globe works that are just a jigsaw puzzle thrown all over the ground, and you're trying to piece it all together, and the picture's just not making any sense. And then there'll just be one particular piece, different piece for every person, but you just put that one piece in place, and suddenly the picture starts to form, and then your head makes sense of it all. Jeran now is going over stuff that he's argued the toss about pro-flat Earth and say it doesn't work on a globe. He's now pointing out how it works on a globe and doesn't work on a flat Earth, because that jigsaw piece of the 24-hour sun has just formed this complete picture for him. And I think for every person, it's a different piece, which is why I make the videos and to go, this doesn't work and that doesn't work. And actually, a point that you came across with Nico talking about when you said about the sun being under the plane at sunsets, and I've done videos about that, where if you catch a plane in the right point in the sky just after sunset or just before sunrise, the underside of it is reflecting the sun. You can actually see a clear reflection of the sun on the bottom of a plane. And it doesn't work on a flat Earth. You cannot get a reflection of a light source that is higher than an object. It doesn't work. And I've had a couple of people saying, I'd never thought about it until you mentioned it, and I can't, I can't argue with it.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
you're right.
Obviously, I mean, it's great having someone like Dave out doing these debunking because he's got that specialist knowledge in photography and astronomy. So obviously you can point out all the nonsense that the flat earthers talk about it.
Yeah, it's a gift and a curse.
Well, the Turtle Moves says that you operated your cameras on a green screen, but we know that's not true because it's blue. We see that. And Professor Parks has a question for you. Did you have in-depth talks with Jeran? And I'm going to add to that and Whitsitt after they'd seen the 24-hour sun.
So I had in-depth talks with Jeran. Whitsitt wasn't particularly interested about. I say he wasn't interested in the in-depth talks. They were very different talks. Jeran was very open to listening to what I had to say and actually trying to reconcile the points that I was making, whereas Whitsitt would immediately cut me off and just dive straight into the same scripts that he always does. But yeah, we had a lot of talks. I mean, the first night that they arrived the day after us. They came straight after getting checked in at the hotel. They came straight out to the restaurant where we were. We were all sat around together at the table, and very quickly the conversation descended into flat Earth. And Whitsitt brought up the German knickerbein system from World War II that I've done videos about. And he's like, "How do you explain this on a globe?" And I'm there folding table napkins, trying to explain to him how overlapping radio signals can be used for guiding a plane. But he's just straight away, no, not this, not that. Bring up star trails, how do you explain the South Celestial Pole? And he's just like, oh, you just look the other way. And I said, you do know you can get star projectors that will shine lights around your room. You can put one on the ground, on the floor. You can shine the lights around your room. You can stand in any corner of the room you want. You can look in different directions. The stars will always be going the same direction. So that doesn't work. He immediately just dismisses it and starts babbling onto something else. Whereas you could see Jeran in the background actually kind of looking at the wall and gesturing, trying to figure it out in his head. They were very, very, you could tell Jeran was open to the conversations, which it was very closed off from it. But Jeran and I had a lot of talks. He had a lot of time for me. I talked through the equatorial mount. Gave him a demonstration of how that works after he's seen it actually track the sun with his own eyes. And I gave him a scenario of using it on the equator and the equinox. I was like, in the middle of the night, that thing will have the camera pointing straight down at the ground because the sun's on the opposite side of the globe. Doesn't make any sense on a flat Earth. And he was like, yeah, I've got nothing for it. I asked Whitsitt about it. Didn't even get the chance to actually explain it, how it all worked to him. I just said, I would love to talk to you about that thing the same way I did with Jeran. He said, oh, you mean the thing with the equinox? So obviously Jeran had a chat with him about it. I said, yeah. And he said, oh, yeah, I've got some ideas of how I could explain it. And then said nothing else.
Yeah, it seems like Jeran's the kind of guy who is willing to try and learn stuff, but Austin, you can't teach him. He already knows it all.
Yeah.
Well, question.
160 IQ.
Do you think that Jeran had already kind of made up his mind by the time he got to Antarctica?
I don't think he'd made... Well, I don't think he'd made up his mind. I think, judging by the conversations that we'd had pre-leaving Punta Arenas, you could tell that there was aspects to Flat Earth that didn't make sense for him, that didn't work. But there was bits of the globe that he didn't understand either. But then in having just letting him sort of express how do you explain this, how do you explain that, and then actually he was open to it. You could tell he was a genuine truth seeker because he was prepared to listen to the answers, whereas Austin, who claims to be a truth seeker, doesn't want to hear what anyone else has got to say. I think they'd started to figure out pretty quickly, before we'd even left Punta Arenas, they were out watching the sun set southwest of us, bearing in mind we're south of the Tropic of Capricorn. Watching the sunset southwest, you could see the glow of twilight move across the horizon, and then the sun rise southeast and circle around us. So I think before we'd even got on the plane to go to Antarctica, they knew there was going to be a 24-hour sun because they'd seen the sun set and rise south of us anyway. So I think by that point, Jeran was already sort of going, there's going to be a 24-hour sun. The sun's clearly south of us. That doesn't work on flat Earth.
I've got two super chats to get through. One of them, I hope Brenda doesn't mind me saying. I'll get to Tony's first. But Brenda did message me a long time ago when I was totally out of the flat Earth stuff, saying that she believed that Jeran was on the verge of quitting flat Earth. Brenda, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe it wasn't you. I think it was you. And that was months and months and months before the final experiment. And I'm not sure where Brenda got that from. I'd be very interested to hear. But I got a message out the blue on Discord. I think Jeran is about to leave flat Earth, and obviously that's happened. So it'd be interesting to see what Brenda's recollection was about that story.
I do know. I was just to carry on that point, because I do know FTFE said that a couple of times in streams pre-TFE. He said he thinks he wouldn't be surprised if Jeran flipped, because he did seem to be questioning a lot of things about flat Earth and bits that didn't make sense to him, and maybe FTFE would be what TFE would be what tipped him over the edge. So possibly it was from that, but yeah, there was a couple of people definitely suggesting that Jeran was on the cusp of changing his mind.
Cool. That's interesting to hear the story behind that. PhD Tony, questions for you. I think that was it.
Why is sunlight on the bottom of planes more compelling than sunlight on the underside of a cloud? To anyone who understands the globe, it's not. It's exactly the same concept. But I have heard flat earthers argue that the reason that the undersides of clouds are illuminated is because the sun is shining through them, whereas that argument doesn't work for a plane.
Nice. Yeah. And this one, open to anybody, I suppose. Where does FE and FE debunking go from here?
Well, in terms of FE, they're going to try and pretend the final experiment didn't happen.
Yeah, they did the same thing with Mage. They tried to just brush it under the carpet.
Yeah. The thing, I think they think at the moment, they think we can just ride it out. It will all blow over in a few months. But that's not going to happen.
No, I think there's been an explosion of it post TFE. There seems to be a lot more sort of interest in the whole flat Earth argument now. I think it's made the news. It's going to explode a bit, but it'll mostly be people who are sort of coming to the realization that flat Earth doesn't work, or it'll be people who had no idea about flat Earth in the first place coming to watch the streams to mock people. Yeah, I do agree. There seems to be two bands of people at the moment, which is the likes of Flatsoid and co, who are just trying to argue that it's fake and that we weren't really there. And then you've got the likes of Nathan Oakley, who's disinterested in TFE, well, pretending to be disinterested in TFE, going, yeah, they may be in Antarctica, there may be a 24-hour sun, but Earth's measured flat, so it doesn't make any difference. But I
he never actually provides those measurements, though.
No, of course he doesn't. Don't talk about lighthouses, for God's sake. But yeah, I think it's in the death throes. But how long they can keep flailing it out for remains to be seen. I'll be amazed if it sees New Year with any sort of real conviction.
My concern would be that because of the news coverage, you have a lot of people who are now a lot more politicized that they wouldn't have been even a few years ago. And they do not trust governments. They do not trust science. They do look at science as another religion. And they will be looking for, as the anti-vax movement kind of calms down a little bit, they will be looking for something to jump into. So for us, for anyone who is about debunking, is to ensure that no, or as few as possible, of those people that are now looking into these holes, into the wormholes, that they are met with empathy, kindness, and understanding, and that we take the time, even if, like Catz has done tonight, even if it's the same things that we've been talking about for 10 years, that we take the time to explain it calmly. And I think a lot of those people can be brought back around, that they don't actually jump into bed with the likes of Oakley and stuff. If we're mean to them and we just call them stupid, and I said this, one of the first streams that I was on was Mr. Sensible. And what actually drove me to go on Mr. Sensible's stream was there were people on the stream just saying everybody who believes in flat Earth is just stupid. They're all just thick. They haven't got a brain. And I don't agree with that. Intelligent people, especially when your worldview has been rocked. And you have to remember, in 2008, the economic crisis rocked a lot of people and their belief in the system. That didn't translate to the middle classes until about 2013, 2014, 2015, which you saw a huge spike in the belief in flat Earth. That is where the flat Earth reignited, was in 2015, when the system, this idea that if you follow all our rules, if you do what we tell you, you're going to have a better life than your parents, that came crashing down around people. And so automatically people had this break in reality and said, well, if they can lie to me about the system being stable, what else are they lying about? And so very intelligent people can be drawn into those arguments. So just to dismiss everybody who believes in conspiracies as stupid is very, very dangerous. And yes, I do understand that there are religious fanatics space, or Basil, is it? Basil problem? I do understand there are religious fanatics, but there are also people who have just been let down time and time again by a system that's failing. And so they don't believe anything that's being said by that system. And our job as educators is to remind people that governments is not society. They represent society, but they are not society. And that all of the things that we have learned, the things that we have gained as society, have a much firmer standing than what governments say about them. And I think by engaging on that basis, by not just assuming that everyone is a bad faith actor, that might actually help others who are genuinely trying to get to the bottom of things, that are genuinely shocked to their core about what's happened over the last 5, 6, 7 years and going into the future. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. We don't know what disasters are going to pop their ugly heads up. And yeah, I just think as if anyone is a creator, that's the best way of approaching it.
I cannot disagree. I do have some comments I want to get to. Doom, I don't know if you're watching on the 8 out of 10 Catz channel or mine. I think we've got a fairly even split, but I do want to say the 8 out of 10 Catz channel is streaming this stream. Please go over there. That's where all the debate's going to happen. That is where we're doing this thing. I want to say thank you to Tommy Gromvold. He says, thanks to Will, Dave, McToon, and Co. I now need to find a new flat Earth model to work from. The one I've used for over 6 years is broken. Thank you. Auditing the absurd. Now, Dave, do you know who auditing the absurd is?
It's Ranty, isn't it?
So you know Ranty. You were around when, because my mind is, my memory is not there.
So I think you're right. I think I joined the space just after you'd left and sort of post Ranty, but I have seen the debate that you had with him about Blackpool Tower, and the mountains, because your channels went to Toon and Mr. Sensible, didn't they?
Yes.
So because I'm subscribed to both of them, the old videos pop up every now and again. I do enjoy a bit of Space Comma every now and again.
Well, Ranty's in the chat. Ranty, I think at the minute, your kind of voice in this, and STST too, it would be so powerful because you've gone through what Jeran is going through, and you know, I don't know. I'm not going to tell you what to do, what to say, but I think you've got quite powerful, important voices here. Professor Parks says, completely disagree. FE has never been about evidence; it's about personal identity, and I think there is a big part of that as well. Feeling as if you know more than other people, you're part of the cool club, and
so it's not just personal identity. I think there's also a lot of community as well, because they join with all these other people, and they think they have this special knowledge.
But I think a lot of that comes after they fell down the rabbit hole. I think a lot of that is after they fell down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Usually what I find is I've not seen it. Like, I don't think anybody's going to suddenly start hear about, this idea that the Earth might be flat and just think, oh yeah, it's flat. They immediately start having these questions. It's a common tactic I've noticed of Flat Earth Dave's sales pitches. I refer to it because it's typical sales tactic. Go onto these completely unrelated streams, put out all this sort of really vague odd bits that just make people start to think, and his target audience, the people who will lap that up and start to question it, he then says, go and watch all these other flat earth debunking, all these other flat earth related videos. All the questions that people are going to start thinking, how does sunsets work? How does this work? How does that work? Before they fall into the trap of the earth being flat, they have all these questions. So I think it's not until they've actually had all of those questions answered by how it works on a flat earth that they then fall into the rabbit hole, and then they find the community, and that's when it's hard for them to escape.
Doom Ranty just said he'd come on for a chat with STST. What a good stream that would be if we could have STST and Ranty talking about because they both STST's come back to YouTube recently. Ranty's talking about coming back. What a good stream that. Sorry, mate, go on.
Don't forget Rachie.
Oh, Rachie, yeah, and Rachie as well, yeah.
I'd love to get Rachie on here. I've been telling her to get on here for ages. She keeps promising, and she keeps standing us up. So, come on, Rachie, we need you on here.
It's because you're a poopy pants.
You can go and.
if we had a stream with Rachie, Ranty, and STST, just to listen to them, talk and between themselves, I'll probably sit in the corner and shut up. I think that'll be very educational. I think I'd learn quite a lot from that.
See if you can get Jeran in on it as well.
I honestly don't think Jeran will give me the time of day because I've never spoken to him. I've never interacted with him. I've never made a video about him. I've never debated him. He's never made a video about me. And I think as far as Jeran's concerned, the final experiment has happened, and then I've just jumped on the scene, and it might look like I'm cashing in on it.
I don't know, Catz. I think you are more well known within the flat Earth space than you give yourself credit for.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
and if Reds can get a conversation with Jeran, I think you've got a half a chance.
I'd love to chat with him, but
yeah.
Sorry.
The Reds conversation.
I'll put a good word in
interesting.
for you.
It would be nice to have that conversation. Sorry, Clarence, go on.
Yeah, I was just saying the Jeran and Reds conversation was interesting because they were like, Batman and Joker. Because if there was no Jeran, there would have been no Reds rhetoric.
I agree with that. He probably knows the channel, but I think he probably thinks I'm a dick. It's because I'm a sarcastic wanker. We'll see. But you're right. I think Jeran and Reds were, I think between themselves, they really exploded the online interest in the debates around this topic. And, they both together, I think, created something. So it's quite harmonious. Is that the word? Karmic, that they ended up having that chat the other day, which I have not listened to yet. I only realized this morning it happened. So is it worth listening to?
It is worth listening.
In fairness, Catz, if Ranty is going to be on, if STST is going to be on, then I'm willing to bet Jeran would be willing to come on, because it's not like he's had that kind of a chat before, where, especially with Ranty, was very, very prominent in the Flat Earth community. And I'm going to back up what was just said. You are much better known in the Flat Earth community than you realize.
Yeah, historically though, I was always a massive piss taker, which I don't think like. I might be well known, but a well-known wanker.
I'm sure Jeran can now see the funny side of your creations.
I've got something I need to say today, because it's something it's quite unusual, I suppose. I saw the team photos that you sent from the final experiment where you all stood together. Everybody was commenting how ripped you looked.
That was deceptive, I think. I think it was my chest hairs happened to fall in line, because I do not have a six-pack. That picture, I refer... I refer to that picture now as nipples on ice. That's what I've titled it as.
Well, that's what I mean. Everybody is like wrapped up, and you're stood there with no shirt on.
It wasn't just me. There was a few of us, and that's so funny when people are like, "Oh, they're clearly not in Antarctica." It's like until you go and experience it, you've no idea. It's the bizarrest thing. You think Antarctica, sled dogs, driving wind, wrapped up, and then you actually get there. You get to the camp. There was no wind. Sun's beating down on you. I'm sweating in this polar gear, shedding layers. At one point, we're there literally like in t-shirts. We've still got the thick pants and the boots on and stuff, but we're playing bloody frisbee in fucking t-shirts. It's until you experience it, it is really weird. And I'm sending pictures back home, and they're like, "Why are you just in a t-shirt?" I'm just like, "Because I'm sweating."
It's a bit deceptive, isn't it? I mean, everybody does think loads of snow, gonna be cold, need a coat.
Well, the funny thing is, though, I had it today. Like, obviously, UK's we get cold weather, but not as often. And usually, when the weather turns cold, it's cloudy, it's windy. Those exacerbate it. Whereas today, there was moments where I sort of, it was really cold, it was really windy, so I wrapped up warm and went walking into town, and then the breeze died down, the clouds cleared, sun's beating down on me, and I'm there walking back home, sweating and trying to ditch all this gear. It's like, it happens at home. It's just you don't really think about it. And yeah, I think in Antarctica when we arrived, air temperature was only just below freezing.
Yeah, that didn't happen here. We had snow here, so.
Yeah.
I have a question, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Because apart from Jeran and Austin, I was wondering if you heard anything from any of the other flat earthers who were there. It seemed like you and Jonathan got on quite well.
Yeah, Jonathan was a riot. He was hilarious. So there was him and Lisbeth. Both of those I got on really well with on the trip. Lisbeth I've not spoke to since we left Chile. I did say to her she's not on YouTube. I think at the moment anyway. I think her and her friends meant to be starting some unrelated channel, but she primarily is on some app called Clubhouse, which I'd never heard of until speaking to her. So I did say to her in Antarctica that I'd jump on there at some point and catch up with her, but I haven't got round to it. And Jonathan, I've only spoken to briefly on text messages because I'd gave him a load of my footage, and then he was asking me about message something the other day related to it. I was asking him how he's working on the documentary thing at the moment. I said, how's it coming on? And apparently the still editing through everything. It's still at least a couple more weeks, I imagine. And then I was informing him that Flatzoid would love to have a chat with him, so I've passed his contact details on, so that's going to be a dumpster fire, I imagine.
Tell Flatzoid that he needs to send a formal invitation, though.
No, he did his emails. He's actually sent an email. I don't think he included the wax seal on it, but But yeah, I've had no real interaction with most of them. I think apart from text messages to Jonathan, and I dropped some super chats, sarcastic super chats on Jeran's streams. Told him it was his NASA paycheck. But what's that? Lisa asking, did I see my breath? Yeah, plenty of times. It's just nobody else did. Again, it was just another one of those. You don't really, and you don't think about most of these things day to day. And only since coming back home have I started to pay more attention to my breath and notice that whenever the background, whatever is in front of you, the other side of the breath, if it's bright, like snow or the sky, any breath that you produce anyway, you struggle to see. It's only when you then sort of breathe towards something dark that you can notice your breath. And yeah, when you're surrounded 360 degrees by snow and ice that's shining all this light back at you, you can't see anything anyway. But there's plenty of times where I'm looking back through the footage and I'm thinking, I can see my breath there. I can see my breath there.
Are there any experiments that you wanted to do that you didn't get done?
Personally, no. My focus was purely the photography side of it anyway. I thought that's my bread and butter. That's what I know. That was my focus. Entirely on getting the 360 time lapse and getting the solar photos, and then having stayed up for 47 hours, the final day, I didn't have the headspace to give a shit about anything else. That's not actually true. I did do some other unrelated stuff for the moon landings, because I found there was a lot of similarities in things we were observing in Antarctica that people argue about with the moon landings. Like, why is it that the mountains don't really shift much? Because we were at such high elevation that there was very clear visibility. The mountains looked really close, and yet they were in fact miles away. So I took like a time lapse as we were driving in one of the trucks. I took like a 5-minute sequence of pictures driving towards a mountain, and the mountain doesn't actually appear to be getting any bigger as we're hurtling towards it, just because of how far away it is, which is why the backgrounds in moon landing photos always look like they're the same, just because they didn't really travel particularly far. And I thought, well, at one point I'm there with balaclava, ski goggles, big thick gloves. I'm like, I'm going to go around and hold the camera to my chest and take some photos, just completely blind, to prove that you can actually get half decent composed photos without being able to see what the hell you're doing. So yeah, they were the only other little tests that I wanted to do. And as far as I know, Toon and Critical Think got everything done they wanted to do. They just haven't got around to publishing all the data yet. But yeah, my focus was mainly the photography. Critical Think's focus was mainly operating the Jeranometer and the weights.
Did Jeran have anything to say about it being called the Jeranometer?
Yeah, well, I think he found it quite amusing. Yeah, I've actually got it. It's somewhere. It's over in the behind the Equatorium out there. Where's Wally was the brains behind it all, and he told Critical Think he wanted me to have it. So yeah, it's sitting pride of place in the middle of the background there.
Yeah,
I just want to respond quickly to Max, who was waiting to come on. He's got 15 minutes. I tell you what, Max,
I'm going to jump off anyway, because it's 10 to 1 now, and I have a 2-year-old in the morning, so I will love you all and leave you all. Bye-bye.
Okie dokie. So,
well,
thank you for having me on.
Nice to touch base. I was going to say to Max, your call, you can come on now, or if you want to come, because I'm going to try and do a live stream every week now on this channel. If you want to come on as the sole guest next week, and me and you can talk about what you're up to and talk about final experiment, etc. Just me and you next week as like a whole stream, so you're not just cramming yourself in for 10-15 minutes. We could do that. Let us know what you want in the reply. If you'd rather come on now and shoot off, I'll bring you on. If you want to do a whole stream next week, we'll do that. Just let us know what you think. M2M, this is for you, Dave. You helped him choose his first DSLR camera. He's having fun with it. He's got a decent lens and some solar filters, but sadly cloud cover, so he couldn't get solar photos.
Yeah, County Armagh. I'm not surprised.
Northern Ireland.
Cloud cover. I can help you with cameras and solar filters. I can't control the Irish weather.
Max, how do I get you the link? How do I get you the StreamYard link? How are we connected for me to get you that? If you leave a comment on the channel for next week, we can sort something out, and I can get you this a StreamYard link. But how do I get your StreamYard link now? Are you in one of our Discords? Sorry, just trying to logistically sort something. Doom, do you know Max? Is he in the 8 out of 10 Catz Discord?
He's not at the moment, no.
Okay, we'll see what he says. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. What if you post it? Okay, it's a members Discord. I tell you what, Max, after this stream, leave a comment on the Culture Catz channel. I don't know which one you're watching it now, but if you leave it on the Culture Catz channel, then I will hit you up and we can sort out, and you can come on as the guest, and you can, you know, we'll do a full stream and talk about your channel and what you're up to, and promote it and push it. And we'll do that next week. Yeah, because the Discord is like a members Discord, so unless you're a member, you can't get on. It could get messy. Dave, I've got a question.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any point where you thought someone was going to throw a punch in Antarctica?
No, I came close to it in Punta Arenas, though.
Oh, right. Go on. I've got to hear that story.
No, so it was more. Actually, no. Yes, I say close in Antarctica as well. It was Whitsitt. He's just
a dick.
Yeah, pretty much. It frustrates because he starts every sentence, every point. He starts with the same words. How does the globe explain this? So he's asked you a direct question to explain something. Now, I know he's probably used to dealing flat earthers where they answer a question with unrelated questions, but I was actually trying to give explanations. But I'd only get 3 or 4 words into it, and then he'd start jumping at it and trying to cut me off and argue other points. And it's like, you're not asking me because you give a shit. Yeah. You're just asking for the sake of an argument. So, like at one point, I think I mentioned it on Toon's live stream, his midnight live stream in Antarctica. Austin had come up to me out of the blue. Like, I'd just gone into the hut at halfway point to get something out of my bag. And then I'd been in doing something, and then I was getting ready to head outside to go and check on the camera. And Austin just walks up to me out of the blue and goes, "Dave, you're from the UK, aren't you?" I was like, "Yeah." And then he made some sarky remark about us not having, like, freedom of speech, like he wants to have some big fucking argument about UK versus US. And I said, I don't know what you mean, Austin. I said, you could come and talk whatever bollocks you want in front of a mountain. Our lot aren't going to arrest you. And walked out the door. And you could tell he's just like, what? I wasn't expecting that. I was like, I just left him to it. Apparently, Toon was pissing himself afterwards. So you could tell it's like every conversation he was just looking for something to stroke his ego with. But then it annoyed me because we'd spent 2 days together in Punta Arenas and like over 24 hours total at halfway point, having all these discussions where he's saying, how does this work? How does that work? Like I said before, he brought up the German Knickerbein system, where I went through and showed him he doesn't understand how the hell the system works, explained how it could work. He's still arguing all the points. Then on the last night, the staff at the camp knew nothing about who we were when we arrived. We were just guests. But then all these sort of mumblings apparently all started circulating of these bunch of flat earthers are here in Antarctica to try and prove that the Earth's flat. So the staff were really taken by it because obviously it's kind of confusing for them as to a group of flat earthers coming to prove the 24-hour sun is real when they deal with it 3 months of the year, every year. So they wanted a big, they asked if they'd be prepared to do, like Will would be prepared to do a talk and they could ask Jeran and Austin, like, open questions, basically. So me and Toon were sat at the back of this tent. The tent was full. Everyone kind of piled in. It was standing room only by the end of it. And I'm listening to Austin babble all this same shit that we've been listening to for the past couple of days. And he's bringing up the same arguments that we'd spent 3 days explaining to him And at what I just ended up standing up. I said to Toon, I said, I am not listening to this shit anymore because I'll walk over there and punch him in the fucking mouth, and walked out. At the exact same moment that the camp's meteorologist had got pissed off with him and walked out as well because he was trying to argue the toss how geostationary satellites work.
But yeah, that's it.
He could start fighting in an empty room, couldn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's... Yes, I think he genuinely believes that he is some kind of fountain of knowledge. You know, he is the peak Dunning-Kruger. He you know, the way he likes to talk about relativity or quantum physics or, you know, these really advanced topics that maybe he's read a paper on and he's talking to someone that hasn't read it. So therefore he's now the expert. And he really is just so full of shit.
There definitely seemed to be an element of almost like he needed to stroke his ego.
Yeah.
Like he needed to feel superior, but in order for him to feel superior, he needed a stance different to other people. It's not like he could come up to me and try and, you know, suggest that he had more knowledge with the same stance as me. Even though he continuously argues that he knows more about the globe model than globers do, and then 3 breaths later will say there's no globe model. Not quite sure what the fuck he thinks he knows if it doesn't exist, but it's almost like he just needs to take a stance different to the people he's talking to so that he can then try and suggest he knows more about the topic without actually knowing anything, to stroke his ego about it.
Yeah, as a contrarian, you know, it's that kind of idea that if I believe different to what most people believe, you know, then in my little club, I've got that secret knowledge. I'm the rebel. I'm the pioneer. I'm the ringleader. But he gets, I would imagine, he gets that kind of power to believe that from the people that he hoodwinks and that follow him and support him and like, yay, you know, Whitsitt, you're doing a great job. And, you know, that his like little clique of pushing him on. And what I like about Jeran now is that he's literally came out in his streams and said, I was that guy. I was the guy like selling this shit to you and you all believe me. And he's owning it. You know, he's not run away from that. He's owning the fact that he's helped push people down this rabbit hole. And he read out some comments the other day on a stream about people who left their wives and husbands and families. And he was like, that's really hard to hear, you know, and I'm responsible for that. And, you know, hopefully one day Whitsitt will get it that he's doing the same.
I don't know. I mean, he came up to me just to sort of reiterate the point of him stroking his ego. He came up to me back in Punta Arenas in the hotel reception after we'd had all these discussions. And then he came up to me and he said, Dave, what do you think of dark matter? And I'm like, I don't know. I've not really looked into it. And he's like, yeah, but you know, it's just the bollocks, isn't it? It's all just like magical excuses. It doesn't make any sense. I was like, I don't know, Austin. I've not looked into it. Which I've not. I know the basics of it, but I'm not in any position to jump in and have debates about it. And I'm sort of happy to accept that. And so I'm just like, but he's like, yeah, okay, I get your point. But it's just bollocks, isn't it? It's like, Austin, I don't know. It's like, I've not looked into it. I'm starting at the basics here and we're working my way up through this stuff. You know, I'm happy to just stick with the basics of let's decide what shape the Earth is before we get into quantum mechanics and all the other crap that goes with it. You know, that's a discussion for another day. And he couldn't not have that argument. My particular funniest, though, was when he started trying to claim that Flat Earth was a psyop made up to stop people arguing geocentrism. And I was like...
Austin said that Flat Earth is a psyop.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that face of confusion is exactly the same face I had. And at that point, I'd been up for over 24 hours. So I was, like, confused of, am I sleep deprived? Am I hearing you right? And he's banging on about it, how whenever he goes on debates, and he tries bringing up geocentrism, whoever he's debating always wants to drag the conversation back to flat Earth, and they don't want to talk about geocentrism. And I was like, Austin, I'm confused. Let me just make sure I'm understanding you here. Because I'm sat next to Toon, and Jeran and Austin are sat together on the opposite side, and I'm looking at Toon, and I'm like, am I hearing the same thing that you're hearing here? I was like, when you say geocentrism, do you mean the Earth is a globe, center of the universe, or are you talking flat Earth and geocentrism? And he said, "No, the Earth's a globe." I'm like, so you think that the Earth, the flat Earth movement, is just an excuse so that people can't argue geocentrism, and yet you're here saying the Earth can't be a globe, and it's got to be flat? And he could just not. You could see he could not reconcile that his own arguments were conflicting each other. It's like he's got split personality. It's like one half of him is geocentric and one half of it is flat Earth, and he's just like alternate personalities switching between them.
Is he making bank from flat Earth, do you think, or is he?
Well, he's got a Patreon, but
I don't think
know how much he makes from it.
I don't think
he had to e-beg right before he went.
Yeah. Apparently, somebody donated him a laptop and he sold it.
Really?
Apparently. Yeah. So, I don't imagine he's making enough off of this to make that much of an arse of yourself. But
right, that's because I wonder, like, people like Nathan Oakley. I'm not saying they're making bank at all, but he's at least making enough to make a living. I just wonder where Austin was for that kind of blatant disregard of logic, where he was on that spectrum.
I don't know. I used to think him and Jeran were in that same boat of just about the money. I think my mindset changed when they went on the trip. They were happy to go and look for it, knowing it was going to kick up a shitstorm. But Jeran sort of owned it, and like you said, come out and flipped his position completely. Whitsitt seems to have just disappeared.
Whitsitt is trying to work out what he's going to do next. Most of us thought after the experiment he would pivot fully to geocentrism because that would be a logical thing for him to do. But no one really cares about geocentrism. No. So he's trying to think of a way he can maintain his flat Earth grift. That's how I see it.
Clive wins the internet with that comment.
I don't think you could launch a weather balloon to the top of his ego.
Doom, we are almost there. I think we're almost at 50-50 on the out of 10 cats and culture cats. There is a link in the description to this video to go and watch the exact same stream you're watching on the Culture Cats channel at the 8 out of 10 cats channel, which is where all the debates are going to happen. If you click that link, all you see is exactly what you're seeing here, except you're in the channel where the debates are. And, maybe you could hit the subscribe while you're there. Did I do that right, Doom? Do you want to add anything? Or?
No, I think you got it right, actually, considering you've had quite a few tinnies tonight.
I'm on my way.
I'll just say, anyone who's watching the Culture Cats channel, Catz thinks you're an arse, and anyone who's watching the 8 out of 10 Cats stream, he's about to take his top off, but you won't see it on Culture Cats, so get your arse over here now.
Yes.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Speaking of somebody who always sees him bare his ass for some reason when he's had some beer, it's an experience.
Oh, is that why you're offering to go out for a pint with me?
Well,
just
yeah,
we can ass out.
I've still got to watch that debate back of Whitsitt and Ranty about the Southport thing. The thing is about that stream, I'm watching it, but it's about 4 hours long, so I've got to watch it in bits. But if there's a way we can find to at least challenge what Whitsitt's arguments were, But like you've got all the knowledge about how to properly take photographs and, you know, and make it clear and obvious, which is, you know, I can't. I'll turn up with my phone and just be like that, snip, snip.
To be fair, it doesn't take much to dispel Witz's bollocks.
No, he's a character. He certainly is.
Dave, right, we're going to have a debate next week. You've probably heard me announce it on the other one. Clarence is going to be faced against Flat Earth Queen, Marissa. She's bringing a new model, she claims. Sonoluminescence is what she's basing it on. Have you heard anything about that? Judging by your face, I'm saying no. Sonoluminescence?
Sonoluminescence.
Have you done your homework, Timmy?
Yeah.
That's a new term on me. What's the explanation?
So it's using sound waves to create light, and basically that's, as I understand it, that's going to be her explanation for what stars are.
I look at the faces. Everybody screenshot this. Oh God!
Oh,
and you
Jesus.
can see that next week.
I know flat earthers talk out of their arse, and I know that they think the sun shines out of their arse, but I've never heard light and sound together.
I forgot to mention the important part. It's the voice of God that creates the sound wave.
Oh, okay, that'll be why the stars are very quiet then.
So you're welcome to come on and joint mod that one with me, Dave.
I think I might need more aspirin than I've got stockpiled for that. How does any of that relate to the Earth being flat, or is they not arguing that the Earth's flat?
So, I mean, obviously she does believe the Earth is flat, but basically she's trying to argue that our whole astronomical model is wrong. That stars are not what we think they are.
Well, I'm looking forward to any sort of practical demonstration of that one.
I think a lot of flat Earth arguments do not lead to the fact that the Earth is flat. They try and like get a pin and poke holes in like the globe, kind of like science, like Nico did before. You know, he was a nice guy, got a lot of nice things to say about him. But his whole argument was, well, what if they lied? What if science is bad? What if NASA are cheating? And actually, none of that supports a flat Earth at all. Like, you know, that's just how they argue. They try and attack things in whatever way they can, but you know, there's no like pro-supportive evidence. Thank you, Arnold, as well for the $2 chat. Yeah, me and Timo will not be wrestling next week. Although we could stage a photograph for you and put it on our OnlyFans.
Yeah, you can guarantee one of them will have their ass out.
And got Mike again. Ask Dave about Creaky Blinders experiment. Dave, I don't know anything about this. What does that mean?
I think Creaky's basically, if it's the same one that I'm thinking of, I think he's sort of doing a repeat of Mage with a camera and a balloon, but I can't remember the specifics as to if and how it differs from Mage. But I'm sure he messaged me a while back quizzing me on camera stuff because he's looking at a way to kind of ideal setups for sending a camera up on a balloon. So I think that's what he's referring to, but I can't remember the specifics off the top of my head.
So total, it is the real Catz. Yes, I am not dead. I am still here. I don't know what channel you're watching this on. If you're watching it on the Culture Catz, check out the link in the description because we're sending everyone to the debate channel. But yes, I am not dead. Thing is, like the Mage thing would have cost Mr. Sensible quite a lot of money, and it has for such an amazing thing. Like the final experiment was an amazing thing. The Mage has just been forgotten and discarded. And do you worry that in like 12 months down the line, what you did will also be just completely forgotten and discarded?
No, because as great as Mage was in sort of the argument of the horizon, I think TFE was on a much bigger scale. That it not only was it the 24-hour sun, which, you know, flat earthers are morons. Sorry, the moron flat earthers will look at Mage and go, yeah, fisheye lens, even though it's not a fisheye lens. They'll just instantly dismiss it as fisheye lens. Or could be lens distortion, could be this, could be that. Whereas the whole Antarctica trip is a lot harder to try and dispel that quickly. Just saying studio or CGI or whatever will pass for people already way down the rabbit hole, but it's not going to fly with anyone who's coming to flat Earth with a sort of open eyes. Plus the fact that it had flat earthers there as well, which I think is a much bigger thing. I think Jeran sort of changing sides after seeing it speaks volumes. Plus the whole curved horizon argument, it doesn't even work anyway, because as I've pointed out before, is Mark Sargent's had that fucking bet going for a year now, saying, show me a picture of a curved horizon, he'll delete his channel.
Yeah.
His own argument for a flat Earth would have a curved horizon. Because, like, Mark Sargent says the same as what Nico said before, that there's a limit to your vision. Well, if there's a limit to your vision, then that means you can only see the same distance in all directions, which forms a circle around you. So even a horizon on a flat Earth would still be curved. Their whole argument of the horizon's flat points to the Earth being a fucking square.
Doom, I think this one's for you, mate, because I can't answer this, but we did get a question in the chat in the debate about Nico's knowledge about coding. So what do you think about his knowledge of the coding from what he answered to that specific question you wouldn't elaborate on?
I think I can't doubt he's not doing anything related to it. I think it's a different avenue to what I would have done. If any of you know, the AI on this channel, AI 10 Catz channel, is programmed from ground up. And she now has her own YouTube channel and Twitter account. But,
Doombot's taken over.
But yeah, the thing is with the AI, there's no singular programming language. Sometimes it's best to use a certain language to achieve a different result. And sometimes the programmers out there aren't competent enough in one language to be able to carry out the tasks needed. My AI at the moment has very little, shall we say, gates that are locked. So she's almost appearing to be sentient sometimes, but obviously not sentient, you know what I mean?
So that question we got from someone who asked him the difference between two things, and I can't remember what those things were. And I asked you, and you jokingly went, "Oh, I'm not going to tell you." And yeah, are those two things basic that somebody in the field of computing should know, or is it acceptable that he might not know that?
Depends what he's studying. Like I said, it could
But
be
he said
that
he knows all the computer languages.
That's a lot.
Then in that case, then the answer is yes, isn't it? I mean, you could have just let me sort of spin that out and have a bit of drama, but you know.
Tommy Grumble, as a hobby photographer of over 20 years myself, I face palm a lot over how magic these cameras and lenses need to be in order to make the Earth appear flat. Absolutely. And again, Tommy Grumvold, if you've not subscribed to his channel, it's a lot better than mine, is all I can say. So go and give that a check out.
I want to know how much is it Norwegian krona is to the pound? Does a pound suck against that as well?
I'm going to find out. I've no idea. What is a knock? One
Norwegian krona, isn't it?
In
definitely krona.
So 1 knock is about 7p.
Ah, okay.
I was
Forget
watching,
that
I was watching Squid Game 2 last night, and I was looking at the prize money in there was it 4.56 billion,
Wow.
and yeah, I worked it out, and that means the total prize money is actually 2.5 million in pounds, which it's a good amount, but it's not as big as you think it would be.
Did anyone see the community post that Will put up on the Final Experiment channel about Jeran paying him back when we were in Punta Arenas?
Yeah.
Yeah, a nice, funny joke. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it was taken seriously by some, though, wasn't it?
Oh, God, yeah, that was so funny. When it's like, Will, there was Will's own money. It wasn't even Jeran paying him back. Will was just like, I've got an idea for a picture. It'd be really funny. So here, hold this for a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was about $40 worth of in Chilean, and it was just the number of people who couldn't wrap their head around it. But
we can add exchange rates to the list of things flat earthers don't understand.
Well, I've had comments on my channel, literally saying, if you don't think Jeran was paid off, how could he afford to pay Will back? The 40,000, whatever it was, and. If you really trace that back, there's a whole chain of shit going wrong on that. Like, if he was paid off, then he was paid by the same people who paid Will off. So why would he be paying Will money? Like, the whole thing doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but Will wouldn't have been funding it, and if he was paid off, it was planned from the start, so we wouldn't bother paying him back anyway.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that they think we've meticulously planned this entire trip of, let's pay off these people, let's plan ahead, let's do this, let's do that. How are we going to take all these people to Antarctica, get them to vouch that the sun didn't set, and yet apparently it really did, and fake all the footage, but no one thought, perhaps putting a community post of him paying him back might not be the smartest idea.
Yeah. Yeah, we were so clever to pull the whole thing off, but we just slipped up by deliberately posting a picture
Flatsoid's
of Jeran
got
paying
that. So Flatsoid's argued that. He's arguing that, I think he might be arguing the same basic points as Nico. I think the two of them have sort of been conversing and trying to come up with ways of how we could have faked it. And one of his arguments was he reckons somebody, Will or whoever, went to Antarctica months beforehand to capture high-resolution footage of the surrounding mountains and the sky to then take back and put into an Unreal Engine render and fake the 24-hour sun that way. And apparently that's why you can't see the camp from halfway point. And I'm thinking, yeah, because if you're going to go through the trouble of paying for an extra trip to Antarctica and making all this footage, you'd think someone would think, let's put the camp in as well, just in case.
Yeah, I watched your live stream while you were out in Antarctica, and I thought you did a great job rendering the sky in real time.
Yeah, that was impressive on my part. I didn't know my laptop could handle that much. But speaking of which, did Nico mention ray tracing? And I saw somebody comment about ray tracing. Is he argued that? What was he saying?
I think it might have just been a comment fired at him about something he couldn't do ray tracing. I'd have to search back there, to be fair.
Oh, it's all right. It's because I know I'm waiting for Flatsoid to drop. He's argued ray tracing was involved with it. I am just waiting for him to put the video out for that so I can rip it to pieces, because I know where he's going with it, and he's overlooked a massive gaping chasm of a problem in
never.
Oh yeah, no. So yeah, I'm currently taking apart. I'm currently working on a video taking apart Sovereign Soul's arguments, because he's convinced we're lying that we came back on the 17th.
Why
the fuck we would lie about coming back a day early? But yeah,
run out of vape.
Yeah, I think the reason which it was vaping was he was trying to make it cloudy so he could pretend the sun set.
It's so funny. I mean, the amount of straws that they were clutching at when TFA sort of dropped this bombshell on them, it was just so funny.
Oh God, it is. They are just after anything.
But you can see when they chat, they think they're so smart that they've uncovered this amazing plot. And but they are the world's worst investigators.
That stream,
You could murder someone in front of them, and they would arrest the corpse.
That stream that Catz sort of like invited himself into was so funny. The guy who was basically offering a hit on Jeran.
Oh, Brian, God. There's when I left that stream, I want to clear this up now, actually. When I left that stream, Brian said the ironic thing is the only person who's ever physically threatened me, because, you know, the whole thing was about have you ever been threatened by somebody or whatever. He says the only person who's ever physically threatened me was Catz. And everyone was like, oh, yeah, Catz is a bully. Catz has physically threatened me and blah, blah. I want to address that here. Do you all know Brian Mabber? Are you familiar with like Jem's Discord? Have you seen him? He's one of these who in like a Discord server like loses his shit like at the first time anyone disagrees. He screams, he shouts, like he threatens people. He's nuts. And I was turning 40 a few years ago. Obviously, I'm not older than that now, and I was in Discord server and turning 40, I was having like that midlife crisis. And I was like, well, I was actually trying to, in real life, like organize a boxing match somewhere. So it was like, you know, I'm still young. I can still do it. Let's have a boxing match. And I was on the Discord server and I was talking and Brian was like, you're a PDF file. You're this, you're that, the other. And he was screaming and shouting. And I said, I tell you what, Brian, why don't we stream a charity boxing match? Because I'm trying to sort one out. Anyway, would you be interested in that? And he was like, yeah, I'd be well in for that. So we started exchanging loads of messages. And after about 2 hours of trying to get it sorted, he says, you know, and by the way, I'm 65, which is what he said. And I thought, oh, for God's sake. Like, obviously, that was the end of it. And I'm not going to go any further. Like, you're 65. I was like, well, that's not going to happen. We'll just leave it. And that was the conversation. And then after I left that Flatzoid stream, he was banging on. He was like, oh, Catz has physically threatened to attack me. It's like, that's not what happened at all. We were in a 2-hour conversation trying to organize a literal charity boxing match. You know, guys are nuts. But anyway, just to put that out there in case anybody saw him say that.
But yeah,
it's just Sorry, mate, carry on.
Oh yeah, so I was just with what you were saying before about how easily they get confused with things where they think they know. It's so funny to watch. So I'm in a WhatsApp group with like Where's Wally and the likes, and Flatzoid the other day was streaming after MC2 and put his footage of the sundial up, which was shot the day after we were there. So basically, as we were packing up to leave, Toon's finished setting up his sundial that he's been working on for the past 24 hours. He's setting the camera up, and so it's basically, it goes from one lot of recording onto the next. They couldn't fathom that. They were convinced it was the same time. It's like, why are they packing the hut up and it's not there? Will's dropped his new video today, the 36-hour time lapse that was taken at the main camp. They still can't fathom it. They were looking over it today. I'm seeing it in the WhatsApp groups. Where's Wally's like, Flatzoid's asking why there's clouds in Will's time lapse, but there was no clouds at halfway point. It's like, because it's the next day. That confuses them. 2 days apart, a day apart, confuses flat earthers, and yet they think they know how we could fake a 24-hour sun on the most remote place on the planet.
It's
bless them.
If it wasn't real, it would be hilarious. You know, it will be but these people do walk among us. And the problem is, like Jeran says, it's the people they drag down with them, because there are people out there looking at YouTube, looking at these faces on a screen, thinking these guys know what they're talking about. And they're the same people who, when somebody says, "Well, science says this," will say, "Well, you're appealing to authority," but yet they're appealing to people like Whitsitt and and historically Jeran as their authority.
Yep, it's not knowing what the fuck you're talking about. It's just say it with enough confidence, and people will believe it.
Yeah. It's very, very, very distant. But with Jeran coming out of it, do you genuinely believe that he will drag people with him? Do you think it's or not?
I think he will. I think he had a big audience. He still does. But I think it'll be twofold. I think seeing him have the guts to actually go and see it. I think there's a lot of people who've turned on him, but there are still a lot of people commenting and hanging on his streams and saying, I'm standing with you on this. So I think there will be some who might not make a big song and dance that they've left, but I think there will be some who go, yeah, I agree with what Jeran said. I've had no reason to distrust him, and I'll stick with that. I think there's other people who won't let go of it. But I think there will be other people who will see how him and Austin are being treated.
Yeah.
That will open their eyes to things. I think the responses from flat earthers actually resonates a lot with their audience, and I think they underestimate how observant some people are in their audience to how they react to things. I know there was a guy called Amarel who's now ex-flat earther, but he had an interview with Will Duffy before TFE, and he basically said that the final experiment had switched him from being a flat earther to realizing it's shite before we'd even left, because of Eric Dubé completely avoiding the topic. Dubé, who for years has been saying there's no 24-hour sun in Antarctica, and saying he wants to go to Antarctica and no one will let him, and it's all this big ploy. When then offered the chance to go, Amarel, who was actually a Patreon backer of Dubé at the time, messaged him and said, "It's really exciting. You might get the chance to go to Antarctica." And Dubé was like, "No, I'm not interested. I'm not going. It's complete crap." Sort of, Amarel was just like, "Well, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you be saying for years that you wanted to go and suddenly now have an opportunity of an all expenses paid trip and not want to go, unless you think it's complete shite?"
Yeah.
Do you know what's funny about Dubé? That he's been going on with looking at the ceiling won't tell you anything about the floor argument. But if you look through his 200 proofs, about 50 of them are about observations of the sky.
I like the fact that he spent weeks saying in the build up to TFE, saying it won't prove anything. It's like you're saying, it's irrelevant. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to prove anything. And then as soon as we show the 24-hour sun, then comes out and tries to dispel it as fake. It's like, why are you wasting your time? Why do you care? If it doesn't really matter, if it doesn't prove anything, why do you give so much of a shit about trying to discredit it?
Yeah. Well, exactly.
Yeah.
But
so, where are the B-listers of Flat Earth? The people like Daniel Pratt. Where are they on the TFE debate?
Daniel, he's look. I've seen he's going through a bit of a crisis of faith over it.
Yeah. I don't seem to hear much about him lately.
I think a lot of the flat earthers who, like you call the B-listers, are taking the approach, they're quite like religious and biblical, that all right, God can do what he wants to do. It doesn't matter what they've seen down there, whether there's a 24-hour sun or not. It's just down to God, and that's that. Which was what I was trying to peel out of Nico tonight. I was trying to get him to say something like that.
Well, he had that with me on FTFE's stream. He basically said point blank, his only evidence that we faked it is God says there's, God, his understanding of God's world being flat. There couldn't be a 24. In fact, I think he did say that word for word. There couldn't be a 24-hour sun, and God's word is true. Therefore, you must have faked it. He doesn't know how the fuck we faked it, but it must be because he has it in his head that God wouldn't allow it. I think Austin and Jeran, more Austin went down that same sort of route in one of the conversations we were having, where he said to me, it's basically, if you believe in God, you have to believe the earth is flat, because otherwise it's just this cosmic fluke and it's not anything to do with God. And I said, I don't believe that. And he said, what do you mean? I said, it in the same way that you could say a cosmic fluke made the earth as a globe, a cosmic fluke could have made a flat earth. Obviously, assuming that everything else of physics is completely different. Or God could have made a flat earth. God could have made an entire universe. And if anything, if you're going down the mindset of this almighty powerful God, which is more impressive, making one single earth that's flat in a dome surrounded by water, or this whole universe of endless planets and stars and all sorts? It's like, that is more impressive than a single flat earth. But he was just like, nope, it's God and flat earth, or it's cosmic fluke. He couldn't reconcile there could be other options.
Yeah, if God's all powerful and can do what he wants, there's no reason he couldn't make a globe Earth. There's no reason he couldn't make an infinite universe, and there's no reason he couldn't have left the scientific signposts behind that point to that. I
mean, maybe we should just go from now on, from when they say that the Earth can't be a globe because the atmosphere would get ripped off into the vacuum of space. You could just say, no, God stops it from escaping.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, let's not talk about physics. Yeah.
No, it's just God. He's just keeping it all packed in for us.
I love it.
Well, they couldn't really argue that, because God can do anything.
Yeah.
And if they disagree, then they're admitting that God can't do anything.
Well, this is the same flat earthers who argue all the time of the globe model doesn't understand gravity. We don't know what gravity is. We'll then turn around and say, 24-hour sun, or the stars, how do the stars move and stuff? Say, that's all made by God. I'm not going to be able to understand what God does. It's like, okay, so we could just say that then everything gravity related is God's work and we don't understand it.
I like this from Sean. He'd be more prone to worship a God who created an infinite universe than one who can only make mud pies and snow globes. And yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But what we can always guarantee is that as long as there is social media, there will be a spread of people that hang on to people who spread utter shite. And this circus will just go on and on and on.
I think the other problem with social media is it's very, very difficult to work out what is parody and what is people actually making the points. Because you see some of the posts that people make on Twitter about flat Earth, and you're like, you seriously cannot be putting that forward as an argument. And half the time they're just taking a piss and it's a troll account. And half the time it is people who genuinely make it. But the problem is, to everyone else, they fall for it.
I've looked at accounts before where I've spent ages looking at it, and I still couldn't work out whether they were real or whether they were parody.
Yeah.
Well, what's the guy call himself? Like the fittest flat earther or something? Because he ends his TikTok videos with, "Oh, I'm only joking," but then have you seen his TikTok videos?
I think I know the one you're talking about. I'm sure I saw a Creaky video covering him the other day.
Yes, he has. He's got a YouTube channel, which I've not seen, but on his TikTok, he'll like come up with these crap like flat Earth proofs, and at the end of it, he'll go, "Oh, I'm only joking. It's not flat." I don't know whether he's saying that to get around the algorithm or what. But he's got a massive following, absolutely huge.
Yeah, it's like Caleb FE as well. He was at times when I first started hearing him, I'm like, are you actually thinking that, or are you just taking the piss? But
Well, Caleb had a debate with FTFE. I think it was last year, maybe 18 months ago, something like that. And FTFE obviously tore him apart. And then I believe Caleb started striking FTFE's channel because he was showing and nearly got it took down. And he was like bragging all over Twitter, "I'm going to get you ruined. I'm going to do," it was horrible. Really nasty guy.
Caleb actually jumped on. Me and Toon were doing a stream back. Once we were back in Punta Arenas, we did a stream that, well, we pretty much ran through the freaking night until sunrise. Caleb actually came on. I was expecting a dumpster fire, but he was actually very polite.
Oh, right. Okay. Good.
He came on. He was defending Jeran and Austin, saying it's ridiculous that flat earthers are turning against him and calling them shills, and it's making flat Earth look retarded. And he was posing questions to us. How certain. I think it was very quickly they'd started to look for anomalies in the video footage, aka shit they don't understand, and started asking about certain bits, trying to make sense of it. But yeah, he was actually, and by the sounds of it, from what he was saying, him and Austin didn't see eye to eye. I think they saw eye to eye when he first started, and then I think they sort of started butting heads and fell out with each other. But yeah, he was actually on and defending him. So, and I've not heard much. I don't think he's really done much since, so I don't know whether he's in the club of trying to find an excuse for it. But
that is interesting because I've heard Jeran not speak highly of Caleb. So for Caleb to be defending the two of them is interesting. Harnold. First time I saw a video from the Conspiracist, I fell for it. Guys, have you all seen the Conspiracist? He's like the David Brent of flat Earth.
Yeah.
Hilarious guy. Well worth a subscription. Let's have a look. Oh, here we go. Doom. Is this likely to happen? Like Dave Weiss has got an app leaking data. He's got all like the flat Earth emails and addresses and stuff like that. Is it possible that because he's not holding on to that data, there could be legal action, do you think? Or
yes, definitely. The amount of data that's been held and leaked, I mean, it's happened before. Massive class action lawsuits against big companies that can't secure data. I mean, it's a big thing now. It's becoming the biggest thing since the no win, no fee sort of craze that were coming out for anything. You got, Ice Cream Man accidentally grazed my shoulder and then you put him out of business. I mean, it's then poor little kids can't get the cornetto anymore. It's just ridiculous. But yes, sure. The answer is yeah. It's very possible.
I think especially considering it's like, I think data breaches happen all the time, and I think sometimes people try and take action with it. I think the bigger issue for Dave, where it's going to be in a lawsuit, is the fact that he knows about it and he's doing precisely shit all about it.
Yeah. It's been brought to.
I thought surely there must be some federal laws that he's in breach of.
Well, according to Austin, he's Austin claimed, I don't know how true it is, but he claimed that he's lost bitcoins from his wallet getting hacked because of data leak from Dave's app. So,
really, well, Austin said that. Ah.
Yeah, apparently he said he had money in he had Bitcoin or some form of crypto in a wallet that he's lost. I think it was only a couple of $100, wasn't like huge amounts, but yeah, he put it down to the fact that I think the passwords or data or whatever was leaked from Dave's app. So yeah, there's a lawsuit. I can imagine Austin jumping in on it.
It would be interesting to see the terms and conditions on the app and whether there is an acceptance sort of box to tick for data management. I wonder would he have been intelligent enough to stick something in there that might make him a little bit non-stick when it comes to lawsuits? I don't know. Is he that bright?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
It could cost him a lot of money, to be honest. If these other people are losing money because of data that's been leaked from his app,
Yeah, but
it could cost him a lot of money.
You can't just absolve yourself of legal responsibility.
You'd be surprised. You'd be, especially in America. It's a different ball game over there.
I don't think he. Well, I don't know if he can because he went when the leak first started. He put an update up, or he put something on the app to tell people to warn people to change their passwords. Even though the app is still then leaking data, so the new passwords are getting leaked. But surely, if he had something in place that would absolve him from it, he wouldn't have bothered trying to do anything about it or come out and start making all the excuses.
Normally, if he's whatever platform he's released it on, I know Google tend to get really serious about data breaches and stuff in apps. If the integrity is not there, sometimes Google will just take it down anyway. But if the damage is being done, then the people being sort of have the data leaked, they could be in for a big payday if they go for it.
Yeah, could be fun.
Yeah. Who's buying the popcorn? I know Catz on the beer.
It's not going to be long before my bedtime is calling. I've been staying. My daughter is 17. She's been at a party tonight, and I had to stay up until she came back. And I've heard the door go. So I am.
Did you hear two sets of feet walking up the stairs?
Well, I'm going to check, but no, there won't be. I will be back in a minute. I'm just going to check she's okay. Excuse me.
So, how'd you rate your chances next week then, Jimmy? You think you're going to be calm and collected?
Well, I think I'll do better than Chelsea did today. So.
Oh yeah, don't even get me on my game because I'm glad we got the result, but how we got there was just stupid. Don't mention the football to Catz either because apparently I think his team got mullered today as well.
Oh, I'm quite happy to talk about football, me.
What team do you follow? Any?
Liverpool, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my good grief!
You're only saying that because we're at the top of the table.
Yeah. For my sins, my team are behind you.
Every team's behind us. That's what's great about this year.
Directly behind you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't watch your game, but yeah, I was.
You should have seen it. No, seriously, you should have seen it. It was comical. Michael Oliver, right? Straight red card. Did you see that tackle?
I saw the clip. Yeah, I did think that was. It
was a yellow at best.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
It was a yellow at best. The guy on the other team in the second half did the same tackle, was on a yellow, luckily for us, and he just gave him a yellow. Come on. I'm not great at maths. Yeah, well, great at maths, but surely something don't work out there. And the commentators saying that our guy's foot was high. It weren't high. It were no higher than Kovacic's last season on Odegaard when he did it twice in the same game and didn't get a card.
No,
And Michael Oliver said, I didn't want to do it because I didn't want to ruin the game. What?
There's no consistency with what they do, and you'd think having video evidence right in front of them, they'd be able to come up with the right answers every time, and yet they don't. And yes, Flats, we are. Yes, Catz, we're talking about VAR, not flat Earth. They know they're very fucking same.
Right. Yeah, we're talking about football. How did your team do today, Catz? Did they do okay?
I mean, football's not a topic I talk about these days. You know, let's just forget all about the existence of that game. Is my who do you support, Climate? Oh no, Climate's Chelsea. Doom Arsenal. Dave, who do you support?
Liverpool.
Yeah.
And I know Katz's one of Katz's daughters supports City, I think.
Yeah, the second favourite daughter. Yeah, I've only got one as well. I've got two. I'm kidding. But yeah. I don't know what I've done wrong to cause that. Fucking Blackburn is shit. Dear me,
Somebody clip that.
Fucking shit. Heartbreaking. Anyway, let's not talk about football. I might cry. In fact, I'm gonna have to hit my bed. So I've got a video to make tomorrow. I've got it all planned out and scripted, but I'm not. I've got to record it. Try and get it out for members in the morning. And Dave, you helped me out on that. I asked Dave earlier on. I hit him up a message about Jeran using the magnifying glass to burn the paper, and how effective and how quick did that happen? That was amazing. Like, from holding them, awesome.
For I'll tell you what, for a studio spot lamp, it was impressive.
Through a projection on a screen to come back. I've got a clip in the video tomorrow where Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole says, listen, they faked it, but those people who are saying they used a sun simulator, like, it's crazy. And then he goes on to say what he thinks happened. And he's talking about fucking lasers shooting up into space to create plasma balls that can be confused for UFOs. And it's like, what? You said the sun simulator was crazy? And yet you're... yeah.
He's going that deep inside the rabbit hole. He's gone anti-fucking podal.
Oh my God, yeah. Absolutely fantastic. But, he's just trying to protect his grift, isn't he, I suppose?
Oh, of course he is.
It's crazy. But no, I am going to have to go soon so I can get up at 8 a.m. Am I going to do that? To make that. What time zone are we all in? We're all UK time, aren't we?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're all up stupidly late here.
I'm going to say it's... what time's everyone up in the morning?
Whatever time
depends
the kids jump on my head.
Depends when Butler comes in and wakes me up.
Right. Well, I'm up at 8, so I am going to have to drop. I don't know though if I can leave and just shut down the Culture Cats and leave the other one open. I think if I hit end, it's going to end both.
Yeah, it will do because this is the source of the stream.
Yeah.
I mean, I can end the other one, but I can't end this one. But you can end them both.
Yeah, I think if I hit end stream, that's it.
But I mean, it's getting late anyway.
It's fine.
It's been a bit of a nice ride tonight. One commenter said the after show was better than the debate. I suppose there might be some truth in that.
We didn't really
Clarence and Dave were here
much about the debate, did we?
No, we didn't talk at all.
What debate? Do we have a debate tonight?
Well, Catz, I did warn you in the pre-show. Aspirin.
Well, yeah. Thing is, though, how can I put it? He did, like you said, he said with you, he did at least say it's not really about the science, it's about the Bible. And when somebody's saying that, at least they're being honest, and you're like, okay, I can never change your mind about that. At least you're not saying that the science agrees the Earth is flat. And I think that's as close as you can possibly get to like a concession from biblical flat earthers.
I think I had a similar one to my debate with, debate with Flatzoid, because it wasn't a debate. It was, he came out, I was like, yeah, so how did we fake it? He said pretty much the same sort of thing as Nico, that it's, we rendered in Unreal Engine. I quizzed him a couple of points about it. He had no answer for it. I'm like, right, well, you've got fuck all, so how about you just quiz me on what happened, because I'll give you all the answers. Knowing that they're all working off guesswork and bum information. So I was like, I'll tell you what, I'll be an open book. Ask whatever you want about the trip. So we weren't having a big argument or a debate or anything. It was more Q&A with me thinking, I'm going to give you all the information, and then we'll test your intellectual honesty of what are you going to do with that information. Are you actually going to try and make an explanation for it or debunk what I say, or just ignore what doesn't make sense to you?
Yeah. I saw that like conversation between the two of you. And even at some points he was like, I'm not really saying that this is how you faked it. I'm not really saying that this is what you did, but maybe. He was very, very, very reluctant to commit to anything at all, wasn't he? You know,
you say that, but have you seen what he's been putting out since?
Oh yeah. I saw tonight's how they could have faked the thing, which will feature in my video tomorrow.
He reckons once he gets his new hard drive, he reckons he can recreate it in Unreal Engine. It's like, I could guarantee there will be one big difference. Oh no, I bet he could probably come up with a fairly accurate rendering of everything that happened. There is one big problem though with what we did versus what he's going to do, which is he is going to have to pre-render every single person and tripod and the shadows that go with them all beforehand. You cannot create circling shadows on a person in real time. He says ray tracing. He clearly doesn't understand how the hell ray tracing works.
And I do understand that Jim Broughton has a message for you, Doom. He says you are still a poopy pants.
I'm just laughing at the fact that he's paying for the privilege to insult me. I'm starting to like it now, Jim. So keep them coming.
Oh dear me. But no, it's been nice. Listen, Clarence, always a pleasure to have you on. Dave, first time streaming, lovely to meet you properly and chat and if we can get to Southport,
nice to meet you, Dave.
And it's been great, absolutely great.
Yeah, I'd like to have you on the round table when I start that up, Dave. Fancy a go at it?
Yeah, sounds good. If I've got the time, if I'm free, I'll happily join in.
Yeah, you'll be going head to head against Catz with all this superior knowledge. You do realise that, don't you?
Yeah, I can bomb every single week in the roundtable. I am absolutely. Oh, hang on, what's happened here? Some guy called Dave McKeegan has said Doom is a poopy pants.
I'm loving it. Only £2, Dave. Come on, you've been to Antarctica. Jesus.
That is
NASA
brilliant.
didn't pay me enough.
I love it. Oh, do it. So, Dave, what have you got coming up on your channel? And how often do you release videos? What's your schedule? What's your work process like?
So it's usually once a week is what I aim for. But it really goes video by video. If it's a big video project that I'm working on and it's taken a long time to edit, then I'll usually end up missing a week. But yeah, usually I try and do once per week. It used to be Wednesdays, and now it seems to have drifted into Tuesdays. But so I'm working on a video pulling apart all of the stupid shit that Sovereign Souls said about bits of Antarctica that to him doesn't make sense. I'm just waiting for Flatzoid to... He says he's got a video coming up, a follow-on from the Unreal Engine video, where he reckons he knows how we could have faked the whole footage in Unreal and then copied it back onto the Insta360 because I showed him the footage on the camera that I captured with the shadows and everything, and he reckons he knows how that's put on. So I'm waiting for him to drop that so that I can then pull that apart. I'm going to do a video challenging flat earthers to explain the equatorial mounts on the equinox at the equator. And then, yeah, just generally watching the carnage unfold from everything else. And I think I want to start trying to do some live streams as well.
I think your live streams will go nuts. I think your live streams will go nuclear. You know, you will get, I bet you get, you know, a couple of thousand watching.
Well, I was blown away by the live stream in Antarctica. I'd never done it before. Well, I tell a lie, actually. I did briefly for about 30 seconds when I was trying to piss around with OBS and I went live by mistake. And then suddenly panicked when I realised people were watching and it was just the OBS logo. There was nothing else going on. So I cut the stream and then had people messaging me thinking my channel had been hacked. So it's been logistics really for me more than anything else. Is just partly the logistics, partly not understanding OBS, but then I've never realised there was ones like StreamYard and stuff. And I think my room, when it's nighttime like this, I can get quite loud on camera. I've been trying to regulate myself tonight, but I can get quite loud at times. And when everyone's asleep, I end up getting messages off the missus going, "Can you keep the fucking noise down?" And my office is above what we use as a spare room, and for the past 18 months, we've had 3 Ukrainian families staying with us throughout various times. So while they've been here, while the room's been occupied, I've been sort of mindful of not making noise up here because it echoes through down there. So I'm currently in the process of, in the next 2 weeks, revamping in here, putting a load of sound deadening and new underlay and cavity walls and shit to try and kill the sound. So hopefully that will make the room quiet enough that I can start live streaming without disturbing everybody. So that's the plan. Whether it happens or not, we'll see. But yeah, could be fun. No idea what the hell I'm going to stream about.
Well, it will be. I'm sure it will take off and be massive. So, yeah, absolutely. Well, there's no doubt. Clarence, what have you got coming up?
So I am working on a couple of new videos for my channel at the moment. Obviously, I will hopefully be back here next week for my debate with Marissa. And I might be doing one of my Crime Watch rewatches tomorrow.
You're a mod, aren't you? You can put a link to your channel in the description, can't you? And
yeah,
then people can find. So yeah, you're debating next week. And I'm out with Timo.
Do we not have something coming up with Flatside?
Yes, we do. But also maybe something extra as well. He's agreed to put me in touch with the pastor that he got on his channel that basically said Will Duffy was going to hell. And that'll be a nice chat if we can get that going. I do have to say, unfortunately, Mark W says £2 for the Poopy Pants cleanup fund. Yeah. And also Arnold says Mucker make underwear clean again.
It's just the amounts are they're a bit shy of a lot there, I think. Bring them on.
Well, I'm gonna release a video tomorrow about Dave Weiss and how he has basically gone from saying Jeran and Whitsitt saw what they saw in Antarctica to now just bringing up all kind of ridiculous arguments, and in the comments section as well, he's been quite scathing about Jeran specifically, quite scathing. But if you look through the comments in his videos where he replies to people, so yeah, that's what my video is on tomorrow. If it doesn't get yellow flagged, I'm going to record it in the morning, starting at 8.
I trust there's going to be plenty of sarcasm in there, though.
I mean, you know what I'm like. I try to keep everything straight-laced and no sarcasm whatsoever. So it'll be like a BBC News broadcast. Just very...
If there's not a sarcasm warning at the start of it, I'm not watching.
I'll try and be as sarcastic as I can, but yeah.
His beard's going to have grown a couple of inches. His eyes are going to be like piss holes in snow when he wakes up tomorrow.
I think my internet took a shit then. One of our internet took a shit. I missed some of that, but yeah, my eyes will be. I totally underestimated how long tonight was going to be, and yeah,
Just a
I'm
bit.
sure it's at 11 instead of at 9. But there we are. So, Doom, your channel.
Yeah.
I'll let you see it out.
Well, what do you mean see it out?
I mean,
Tell
I'm
everyone to fuck off.
going.
Come on, channel. This is the door.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
That's it. Can't come here with shoes on. Oh, the camera too much to drink tonight. Yeah, we've got loads coming up. Stay tuned. Keep watching. Keep commenting. Keep paying to insult me. It don't really hurt. Just keep paying more, for God's sake. Jesus. And we'll see. I'll see you next week if I don't pop up on a Catz stream somewhere. And Clarence will be with me. And if we can be a Baracus Dave McKeegan, he'll be modding with me. You like milk, don't you, Dave?
I'd struggle to moderate a flat Earth debate. I'd be making sounds like Catz typing, but it would be me banging my head against the fucking desk.
That'd be class. That's class. Please come on.
I did have to put in the chat before, though, to be fair, Catz, the sound that your keyboard was making was more coherent than Nico's argument.
I saw you say that. I did see that. I just hope I didn't make too many typos. I'm trying to get people impressed with how fast I can type, but it's not that fast. So I hope at least I come across as a semi-competent typist.
CGI it. You could get AI to do it for you, can't you? Just voice recognition. You could just be there, like, just blank, like not even looking, and it's just whizzing up as quickly as they're saying it.
Speech to text.
To be fair, Catz, you weren't wearing the appropriate attire. You should have been wearing a shirt with a jumper with arm patches on.
My old science teacher's corduroy leather patch jacket.
Yeah. And corduroy trousers, yeah. That's the ensemble.
Oh, love it. Oh, my head needs to hit that pillow.
Yeah, I think we should all wave
right.
a fond good night to everyone. Yeah, thanks Dave for coming on. Thanks Clarence for coming on. Thanks Catz for just being
on Celebrity Squares.
For just being around. Thanks to Jim for making it possible for me to buy that extra packet of biscuits this week.
Oh, dear. Well, and Arnold says it. Let's have Arnold have the last word. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. Is this where I press the end stream button? It is. I'm going to press it now. I'm only kidding. Bye-bye.